the bill unless a whole bunch of votes change. Congress will.
Blaha mutes www.youtube.
All right, let me take a look. Thanks for the donation, N.
Well, clearly, I have the word stupid written on my forehead.
I mean, he might as well.
This is even my biggest critics admit. Like, dude, his strength code, I may not like Blaha, but my God, does he know how to get people strong.
Literally, like, I don't know if he's had a single client bench over 315.
Joe Fazer hired me at one time. What do you mean? He didn't use my program. I coached Joe Fazer for a while.
Yeah, apparently it was only because he was a retarded kid and Blaha offered to coach him for free. And from what I've heard, he didn't even follow Blaha's program. And then when he found out who Blaha is, he like just completely cut contact with the guy.
He hired me to coach him. We got his deadlift to 4 plates. That was his goal. No, I coached Joe about 5 years ago.
4 plates? Doesn't Blaha make fun of dudes who can only deadlift 4 plates?
I need to be paid for a debate. I'm not debating for free. Like, will I do a debate for sufficient money? Yes. Especially these days. I mean, I had situations where it was harder to schedule stuff. Right now, I'd be happy to do a debate, if I'm compensated for it. Sure.
Yeah, he's just so busy.
So arrange it and discuss payment. Sean, but can you afford to pay for it? Like, I'm not debating for free, guys. I mean, I'm more than happy to do debate videos. But I need to be a
I'm more than happy to debate anybody. I just need $100,000 per hour. 'Cause my time is just so valuable.
appropriately compensated. So for me to do a 1-hour debate for someone else to then record and upload, I feel $1,000 is pretty reasonable.
$1,000.
I feel $1,000 is pretty reasonable.
He doesn't even make that an entire month through all his revenue sources.
Lane backed out, but we had agreed to $7,000 at one time for a debate. And that was a serious agreement, and then he backed out. Like, we had.
He's lying. Lane was willing to give him like a couple $100 or something, and then Blaha asked for something ridiculous like, 10,000 or like it was something absurd where it's like, yeah, I'm not giving you that kind of money.
Agreed that he was going to pay it.
Yeah, Lane never agreed to pay him $7,000. Lane offered to give him money for it, expecting he'd just ask for like a couple $100, which would be, I guess, worth it to embarrass Blaha at the time. And then Blaha demanded like 10 grand or some shit. It might still be up on Blaha's channel. Eight years ago.
Hey everybody, it's Jason. You have to go in hard. For weeks and weeks telling me publicly that I'm a big coward if I didn't do the debate. And then when we had terms kind of agreed to, he backs out. And it's interesting the way he tries to save face with that. But for people who don't understand, No, I wasn't interested in doing the debate at all. I'm not a big fan of debates, and the reason I'm not a fan of debates is because I have watched a few academic debates, and at least one of which I watched a person lose a debate, admitted he lost the debate, admitted he lost the debate, right? Admitted. That's my problem with debate. Who presented votes? So I'm sitting here going, what do I have to gain from this? What did I have to gain from this? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. I don't even like debates. I don't believe in the concept, really. I think debates are about who can argue better, not about who has the best information on something or who's right on a topic. It means you can convince an audience better. There's a long history between Lane and I, his family, and any on that, but that's the reason. That's not how. Over a year before this incident, year before I do it, just to give him a right. All right, that says a lot about the sort of person he is. Now, that's probably all that would have happened. I need to be basically, with my mind says, I need to be compensated enough to keep my cool. Because there's no way I could be in a room with him. Obviously, it would have to be on camera, and I'm sure he feels the same way. I don't think Lane and I could ever be in the same room together. It's probably not a good idea. I have no intention of.
Lane never expected to be in the same room with him. I think he was planning on having it online.
Coming near him, I'm sure he has no intention of coming near me. So anyone who thinks that would ever happen, not going to happen. But the thing is, like, well, I need to be compensated for this. And then when he agreed to compensate me, what I agreed to was to be paid the exact amount of money, not a penny more, not a penny less, to what I made in December off of YouTube ads. And I threw that out there because it would be more money than he anticipated. I wanted him to agree to a number that was going to be higher. Because if I wanted $4,000, I could have just asked for $4,000. If I wanted $5,000, I could have just said, I want $5,000 to do this. Hell, he might have agreed. Who knows? But I instead did something that was going to be an honest, legitimate thing that I didn't have to fabricate. Because I already knew roughly what I thought I was going to make. And that it would be a higher number than he realized he agreed to. I did that just.
So there you go, caught lying. He literally admitted Lane never agreed to give him $7,000.
To mess with him. Because I would lock him into an agreement publicly to pay me more money than he thought he was going to have to pay me. Because he honestly probably thinks I made like $2,000 or $1,500 or something off YouTube every month. Because a lot of people who hate me, that's honestly what they think. And that's okay. That's fine by me. No one really needs to know what I make. And then he had said, well, I either need a tax return or I'm going to need a bank deposit from Google. And I said, well, I'm not giving you a tax return ever because you could hurt somebody with a tax return. Like, but I'll show proof of the bank deposit, which was reasonable, and I did. And, and he was saying, well, if he fakes this, and I'll sue him, and I'll charge him with fraud or whatever. And it's kind of like, then when the number came back, it was higher than he thought it was going to be. And notice he didn't try to sue me for fraud or anything or threaten that anymore. He just claimed that it was made up, that it was fake. And he's got all these little trolls who are like, yeah, well, if that's real, then why of X, Y? I don't have to answer your X, Y, and Z. I have enough proof that would stand in a court of law. He couldn't drop fraud charges on me because I actually gave the
fuck is he even talking about?
Exact legitimate number to the penny with no fabrications. Like I actually was honest on it, and I went into this knowing that if I lied, he'd be able to hold me accountable legally. Like I knew that. That's why I didn't plan on what does he do to try to save face. Well, he realized he doesn't want to pay me that much money, even though he publicly agreed to it. And when he had agreed to it, I said, you know what? I'm going to drop all this other stuff. I'm going to let you pick the top of that pick. Anyone you have the home court backed out. It would be fraud.
What a dumbass. Like a literal fucking retard.
But I feel $1,000 for me to do a 1 hour, formal debate, with someone moderating it. I think.
Yeah, somebody's gonna give him $1,000. Let me see.
I remember the Lane Norton debate challenge. He tried to say you fudged the figures. He chickened out. He backed out.
Wait, did we watch that one? Yeah.
He fudged out. His agreement was, well, you pay X amount or whatever my YouTube income. And he said, okay, fine. And he said, but it has to be documented. So I notarized it. So the bank manager was a public notary. So I went to my bank, I went to my credit union
He did not. He doesn't even know what notarizing something means.
at the time, and I had them print out the direct deposits with dates. Right? Had them print out direct deposits with dates and notarize it. You know, and he was just like, I forgot. It was a significant. It was a lot more than $7,000. I think it was something like, you need to pay me 3 months of my YouTube ad revenue. An average.
Yeah, notice how his stories change. So before he was saying it was his income for December, now he's saying it's 3 months of income.
3 months, and he didn't. He was. So I had him print out a full year. So my notary, we printed out a full year direct deposits from Google.
Yeah, and notice how before he was saying it was the month of December, and he showed a screenshot of the bank's bank statement. Now he's saying it's 3 months worth of income that they agreed to, but he printed out a full year's worth of bank statements, and he got it notarized. The story just completely changes.
So they were all spaced, so that we had a full year, and we could take the average. And when I and had it notarized by a public notary at the bank, so the bank manager printed it out, notarized it, stamped it.
He just lied. Like he hasn't changed. He's just a fucking liar.